concepts of gender equity and diversity in Israeli academia, לא שומעים אותי, sorry, okay, ככה עדיף, טוב. The concepts of gender equity and diversity in Israeli academia are presented nowadays as two complementary concepts. Gender and diversity are terms often used together in many academic institutions. And in many academic institutions, the Office of Gender Equity has been expanded to include diversity. Thus, for example, at Sapir Academic College, the office is defined as the President's Gender and Diversity Advisor. However, we claim that in practice, in terms of formal policy, there exists an inner separation between these two categories. This separation derives from a continued and persistent blindness of Israeli academia to the inseparability and interrelations of gender equity and diversity. While the Council for Higher Education in Israel has established a well-based and financed policy for advancement of women in academic staff, including various programs which reward institutions who meet the goals of gender equity, there exists only one program regarding the advancement of diversity among academic staff. This program includes only Arab Israelis, but unlike the gender equity programs, does not involve any similar financial gratification for institutions who advance the hiring of Arab academics. Perhaps this is one of the reasons why this program is currently far from reaching its goals and can also explain the criticism it has been evoking. In other words, higher education policy in Israel clearly differentiates between equity and diversity. And since diversity among academic staff is limited to national minorities, other minorities are being ignored and excluded. First and foremost, the largest minority of Mizrahim, for our international guests, that means Jews from Arab and Muslim countries. The term is already used in the international context, but I'm just explaining. Alongside other minorities such as Ethiopian Israelis, Orthodox Jews, Israelis from former USSR, etc. Furthermore, the higher education policy in Israel regarding diversity in academia is directed first and foremost towards students, Orthodox Jews, Ethiopian Israelis, and Arab Israelis. These days, a development of a formal policy regarding first generation in academia is being considered. This is the result of voices from the field and the creation of a critical discourse to which our book mentioned earlier on first generation in academia, never enough of self-publication, published recently has contributed significantly. This proves that social categories are never fixed, but rather constantly subject to negotiation between politicians, policymakers, academia, and social movements. In our paper today, we wish to present our preliminary research project, which aims to critically analyze the recruitment and integration and promotion processes of academic staff in Israel through applying the intersectionality framework and via the methodology of process mining, as will be explained shortly. To date, official data relating to the academic staff in Israel has been gathered by the Council for Higher Education only regarding the proportion of men and women among academic tenured staff. Following the recommendations of two committees, Karmi and Arnon, established to examine the condition of women in the academic staff, other data regarding the composition of the academic staff has been published only lately by the Central Bureau of Statistics relating to women, Arabs, Ethiopian Israelis, and Orthodox Jews. Apart from the Arab minority, where a gender differentiation has been made, no similar distinction exists relating to other minorities. What clearly raises from the data collected both by the Council for Higher Education and the Central Bureau of Statistics is that presumably the category of women includes Jewish women alone, without any gender, התחלתי פה. Okay, any gender, differentiation among the various minorities of the Israeli society. Contrary to Israel, elsewhere, at least since the late 20th century, there exists a well-established acknowledgement of the necessity of an intersectional analysis of gender, ethnicity, nationality, and other minorities among academic staff and in general. Accordingly, data is collected, analyzed, and utilized as a basis for developing an adjusted policy for recruitment and advancement of diversified academic staff. These policies have been based first and foremost on Kimberly Crenshaw's, which has been mentioned already, of course, framing of intersectionality as a response to the complex life realities of Afro-American women in the States, whose discrimination in workplaces is a direct result of the inability to separate between their gendered and racial belonging, meaning that they suffer from multiplied oppression. The Afro-American intellectual Patricia Hill Collins' important contribution to this framework is her focus on the absence of Afro-American women from all social institutions that produce knowledge, such as academia, the media, and publishing. This means that the absence of minorities from academia is therefore not only an ethical issue of lack of representation, but none less importantly, their absence prevents the production of complex knowledge, deriving from the margins and therefore holding the potential for subverting hegemonic and mainstream knowledge. In the Israeli context, to date, there are only 2 academic works that have examined the composition of the academic staff through the intersectionality framework. The first is Israel Blechman's thesis based on data collected in 2005, as you can see here, on more than 4,000 tenured faculty members in 6 universities. The findings clearly indicate that more than 90% were of Ashkenazi origins. Among them, less than 9% were Mizrahi lecturers, 7% were men, and 1.7% women. The rate of Arab faculty members was less than 1%, and Arab women lecturers less than 0.1%. The second research done utilizing intersectionality analysis was conducted at Sapir College, our college, in 2019 by us with 2 other colleagues, Moti Gigi and Inat Yehuda, regarding both the students' body and the academic staff. One notable finding was the reversed mirror of the students' composition in comparison to the academic staff's composition. Whereas 70% of the academic staff are of Ashkenazi origins, the majority of the students are of Mizrahi origins. And whereas most of the academic staff are men, most of the students are women, mainly Jewish Mizrahi women. And finally, that the number of Arab students is more than 5 times the number of Arab lecturers. This finding is a clear indication of Israel's higher education policy noted in the beginning of our talk regarding diversity in academia as directed mainly towards students and not towards staff. Okay, עכשיו איפה הדף הבא? Okay, sorry. מה יהיה? Sorry. Okay, I've got a missing paper. Sorry for the mix-up. I think so, but we'll present now our new research project, which is utilizing the process mining, as I mentioned before. As I said, we have commenced our research project by collecting data regarding tenured track faculty members of 2 institutions we are affiliated to, Sapir Academic College and Ben-Gurion University. Our reason for choosing this path were twofold: to start on a low-scale level via the method of case study, to build on its basis an accurate large-scale model for mapping all relevant academic institutions in Israel, but also to benefit from our prior acquaintance with these 2 institutions to facilitate the collection of relevant data. Today, okay, and now let's present a recorded part, which is short recorded part of Sagit explaining the usage of process mining and very, very initial findings.
למה זה לא עובד לנו?
Everything is against us today. It's personal. It's just...
Okay.
Sorry.
נצא מפה. הנה. Okay.
Hello, my name is Sagit Kedem Yemini, and I'm doing this research with my dear colleagues and friends, Dr. Sigal Nagar-Hon and Dr. Tammy Razi. However, I come from a different field. I'm industrial engineer, and my expertise is information systems and big data analytics. I would like to introduce you to process mining, a method that focuses on extracting knowledge from data stored in the organization's information systems. It is a relatively new discipline and based upon model-driven approaches and data mining. This picture that I present here shows exactly what process mining is doing. It shows the real path of the process rather than what we planned. We planned that people will drive through the road, isn't it? Professor Will van der Als is saying this is the most appropriate methodology for modeling processes. Process mining is a field that deals with algorithms for detecting legalities and exceptions, especially those suitable for the analysis of the processes in the organization. In this research, we use process mining for three main objectives. Process discovery, we would like to see how the promotion process works in the academics. Process conformance, is it really what we believe it is? And for suggestions to improve the process. Process mining creates process maps out of the actual data and reveals the path that created variation in the process. As process mining is based upon that data log usually stored in the organization, our first question was, can we create data log? We began by searching for information via public sources, such as the department, online site, and other relevant online sites. I can mention Google Scholar, ResearchGate, LinkedIn, and OrgID as sources. We then turn to the faculty members and ask them to send us their CVs, followed by a short survey that we distributed, including minimal details. Collecting this data drove us to the results. So currently we have 1,386 records that present 302 academic staff members, 91 from them are male, and we recorded 12 types of activities during the academic process. Then I will share initial results, but first let me ensure you that we can create the data log, and then we can present process maps. So let me share a little bit with you. Here I represent one process map for one department from Ben-Gurion University. You can see here the start activity, here is the end activity, and all the stages through this process are stages through academic process of all faculty members during their academic life. Okay, then we can focus on one attribute. Like, for example, I present here a focus on the female staff members promotion process. Okay, it looks a little bit different. And then I can do the intersection. So I did the intersection, I focused on Mizrahi female staff member. And I can see here that there is only one Mizrahi female on this department, but I can investigate this process through the maps. So let me assure you that we are eager uh, to continue this research, and we are very happy to share with you those initial findings of our study. Thank you.
So to conclude, we are just in our initial stage of our research project, but we already know now that we can apply the process mining method for providing a complex intersectional and dynamic analysis of the actual paths of recruitment and advancement of minorities in academic staff in Israel and maybe elsewhere also. Thank you. And sorry for the mix-up with the pages.